Right, well, let's head to Sydney now, because royal editor Russell Myers is there and Charles and Camilla's royal tour begins tomorrow. But Russell, they're already sort of saying that this might be a bit of an awkward one, quite a difficult one for them to navigate. What do we know?
Yeah, a little bit, Lorraine. Good morning. I mean, we've just seen a beautiful sunset here in Sydney, just behind the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and the Royals are going to be here in 24 hours. But, there has been a little bit of trouble on the horizon, a few rumours about Republican protests, people taking to the streets, and it's pretty much been compounded by the 6 Australian state premiers. They have all refused to go to a reception in the capital, Canberra, on Monday with Charles and Camilla. And people are wondering, will there be more protests on the street like we've seen in the UK? But, Charles is really looking forward to it, Camilla too. And you have to understand this is a pretty big undertaking for the King. Of course, he's had his cancer treatment over the last 9 months. He's actually pausing that treatment for 2 weeks while he's over here and Samoa for the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. So I think he's going to take it all in his stride. And a lot of people I've spoken to here are pretty much looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, and that's a bit rude, them not coming to see him, actually, particularly under the circumstances of his health as well. And he's always said it's up to the people of Australia. It's up to them, it's whether they want to keep the monarchy or not. It is totally their decision. He's been very upfront about that, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really has been, and I've had conversations with him myself about the Republican movement, whether it's here or whether it was in Barbados that left to become a republic in 2021. And Charles has said, we are here to be partners with the British realms who are part of the Commonwealth. We're not here to be rulers. And I think that's very much the sentiment here down under as well. And, it's not a huge sentiment here. There's a lot of people who are looking forward to the visit and certainly the people on the streets that we're going to see tomorrow and the next few days are going to get behind it, I reckon.
Yep. They're upset, though, about this stuff, about cake.
Oh, it's well, good. They are indeed. And you've got some in the studio. Now, this is Lamington.
Really good.
And it's amazing. I've had some myself. It's chocolate and coconut cake. But there's a guy called Steve Mills, and he's one of the Australian premiers in New South Wales, just here in Sydney. And he's been raking over old coals. And he said, back in 2018, when Charles was here, when he visited to celebrate the Commonwealth Games, he refused some cake. Can you believe? So there's been a bit of a hoo-ha here about whether Charles is going to have his cake and eat it when he's back down under. But one thing after another for the poor boy.
For goodness sake, honestly, it's actually really good cake and it's light. But I know Charles likes to look after himself, like he doesn't have lunch very much, so it might just be that. It's not this cake, it's all cake. That's the thing. Of course, this all goes back, remember recently in The Crown, we saw Charles and Diana in Australia, that very, very first tour, and she just, actually, there was a lot going on there, a lot of protests about royalty, and she just brought it back. She was a superstar.
Well, she was, and any viewers of The Crown will remember back in the scenes we saw were just absolute wildfire, weren't they? In 1983, Diana took Australia by storm, and Charles wasn't too happy about it. But yeah, this is going to be a very, very different tour. We've got the King and Queen. They're in their 70s. They're here to sort of enjoy the culture and the community of Australia. And it is going to be about community because we're going to see Charles talking about the environment. We're going to see Camilla talking about domestic violence, two of these big causes that they've aligned themselves to for so many years. And I think, the past is the past. We all love sort of poring over the Crown over the last couple of years. But it's very much about looking to the future and looking towards the next generation. And that's definitely the message Charles and Camilla are going to try and convey on this tour.
No, that's true. And you talked about their passion projects. Prince William, was on the red carpet last night over here. It was obviously for the Centrepoint, which is, again, the homeless charity, very close to his heart because his mother was very much part of that, wasn't she?
Well, she was, and you'll remember the pictures, way back when in the 80s where Diana took both William and Harry to the Centrepoint Centres, and now he is the patron of the homelessness charity, and a very, very much a cause aligned to his values. It's something that he's very, very dedicated to, one of his life missions, it's been explained to me. And it was the Centrepoint Awards last night. There were some celebrities there, of course. I saw him rubbing shoulders with Claudia Winkleman, with Beverly Knight, teasing her about whether she was going to be up on stage. But, you know, he was saying about this is not just an issue that cannot be skirted over. It's an issue for us all. And I think that those sentiments were really, really powerful. When you get people in a room and we get somebody like Prince William saying that we need systemic change and prevention rather than management in this situation, it's pretty powerful.
No, that's true. And he's also addressed his critics. There's a new documentary that's going to be running on ITV. And this is what he had to say, which I think is really profound.
There will be some people who might question whether you're the right person to lead this project and its efforts to end homelessness. How would you respond to that?
I think everyone having a right to a safe and stable home benefits us all. I come with no other agenda than desperately trying to help people who are in need. And I see that as part of my role, is that why else would I be here if I'm not using this role properly to influence and help people where I can. And I like a big challenge. I do like that, but I can't do it on my own.
Good for him. Russell, thank you. We shall see what happens in the next few days with the tour. Hope it goes well and talk to you real soon. Thank you.